Parc Asterix is a theme park based on a comic book series located near Paris, France. This park is growing quickly with record attendances set in 2022 and again for 2023 thanks to the brand new Intamin roller coaster, Toutatis. The park has a collection of 8 roller coasters spanning from great family coasters and a few extreme coasters as well. There's also a Vekoma Madhouse ride, water rides, and a few shows. Our day would start at OzIris, the inverted roller coaster inside the park, and at that, my favorite inverted roller coaster from Bolliger and Mabillard. OzIris has an incredible mix of elements that do not feel like a standard B&M, and that's what makes it so special. Instead of regular, perfectly shaped entries and exits into each element, you're turning before going into elements, you're taking high-speed overbanks, or even this section of downhill straight track before the Immelman. It really adds a lot of character to this attraction. When the park went to Swiss manufacturer B&M, they required that this lift hill be seen from the highway outside of the park as sort of a billboard to bring people in. And maybe that's why we have this steep drop into this very original layout with its quick turns and special moments. The underground section through the water right in front of the big entryway and station. It really is one of B&M's best designs, both with the flow of the coaster and visually. The Vekoma built coaster Goudurix is up next. This is a love or hate ride. Personally, not a fan of the extreme positive G's that come from the coaster, so I lean more towards the hate, but I know that this is one that some coaster enthusiasts really love and talk about, especially the rarer elements like the butterfly and the very intense bat wing. The transitions and just overall feel of this style sit-down coaster is nostalgic, but not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wouldn't like it. It's an old Vekoma. But if you like those classic aero loopers and stuff, this is a unique one, I guess. These two liked it.
It's better than like any aero looper ever built, any Vekoma looper ever built. It's better than like so much stuff. It's better than probably like almost every like B&M floorless and sit-down looper ever built. This thing is so damn good.
Good operations here. They're amazing.
Like run. I think this is the most underrated coaster in all of Europe.
Oh God.
Every loop on this pulled at least 4 Gs. It was like insane. Like I loved that. I have no complaints about it. It's not even rough on a wheel seat.
We'd head up the floating bar, which is right next to this coaster. This is free as long as you purchase a drink at the bottom. The bartender does not actually bartend while you're on the ride. You just bring your drink along with you, and the seats are very small, so it's a bit unsettling. I really do recommend that you get a drink, alcoholic or non, and come and experience this attraction while you're at the park. Tonnerre to Zeus is a wooden coaster that was recently redone by Gravity Group at the back of this theme park. Because of the lighter trains, the overall length of this ride had to be shortened, but new effects and also a backward row were added to the train. The backward seat is free. You just have to wait in a line that might be a couple trains longer than the other rows. I do recommend waiting for that seat. Not knowing the layout of this ride, this row is a very intense experience with a few rough moments, but overall a really fun ride just because of how it is actually a bit terrifying. I do prefer the old layout facing forward in the old ride altogether, but I've never really experienced anything like this backward wooden coaster, so it was a nice surprise. There's some smaller family coasters in the park for the visitors that want to ride every coaster here, including the Flight of Icarus, a unique zeroer that I highly recommend. Toutatis Express is another family coaster similar to that of Fire Chaser Express, which is at Dollywood in the USA and manufactured by Gerstlauer as well. This ride is a bit less crazy than Fire Chaser Express thanks to its very spread out layout and larger elements. There's minimal theming and a storyline along the coaster. Really one of the better family coasters in the world. Very long and just a lot to it. We'd take a ride on the Madhouse. This ride seems to just need some maintenance and more attention as a lot of these screens are out on the ride. And then there's a couple water rides here at the park as well, the splash boat being just a straightforward drop, and the log flume, which turned out to be my favorite log flume that I've ever been on. There's fun drops, and there's a section with some little rapids, make it have a little bit of everything. Do not miss this log flume, even if it's a colder day. Truly, it's worth your time. This is a very good ride. It was the final park of the trip, but with one trip ending, another would begin, and it would start right back here at Parc Asterix, in fact, where we'd ride Toutatis, which is now the star of the show here at Parc Asterix. This is an incredibly balanced ride. There's a lot to it, but I will say the pacing is odd. Just like with Pantheon, the first half has an odd mix of extreme spikes of negative Gs and also some nice floater or hang time mixed in. The triple launch is just always going to feel a little off for me. It's just weird to travel the same piece of track 3 times, all at different speeds. It's either going to feel very slow or very out of control, and that's what it is every single time. But the second half of the ride is really where this thing shines. The large stall, the huge just straight airtime moment, and then finishing off with this quick roll. These 3 elements with the small moments in between all of them are the huge hits of Toutatis. This second half is one of the best second halves of any coaster I've been on. It's incredible that even though Pantheon is just slightly shorter in duration, how much more Toutatis seems to do is unbelievable. It just goes to show you that going for records in height and speed really can make a ride suffer, as Toutatis is unbelievably better than Pantheon and does so much more, even though it is only 200 feet longer than Pantheon. And that second half alone makes it become one of my favorite coasters that I've ever been on, falling probably in my top 4% or so out of 900 different roller coasters that I've done. Definitely highly recommended, worth stopping to the park for this ride, and also extremely well themed area that really just feels like it's been in the park for years. The bobsled coaster Trace du Hourra now winds itself above the pathways of Toutatis, and it's one of the better mock-manufactured bobsled roller coasters with some light rock theming and a long layout with really the best operations that you may ever see on a roller coaster. 2 trains are consistently going up this lift hill at the same time, which is pretty fun to watch. Some final thoughts and tips on the park. It seems really like European parks either pride themselves in having very good food or not really caring too much about it. And Parc Asterix really could do better here. We grabbed a couple bites to eat while we were here and nothing really was a standout. So if you have time to eat before coming to the park, I do recommend eating outside. And that would do it for this trip from Europe, but we're right back in Paris and headed towards Finland now, where I'll give my thoughts on the 3 major parks up there. Thanks as always for watching these little reviews of the parks, and until next time, up in Finland, see ya.